Alrighty. Hi, Brandon. Welcome. Just going over, a few of the All right, so just going over a bit of what we did last night. We did Sharon Tyndale's murder. We did Robert Richardson's murder. We did Thomas Henman's murder. And the murder of Mary Rogers, also known as Beautiful Cigar Girl. Tonight we're going to start off with Henry Weston. Henry Weston Smith, followed by, hi again, I think we're going to follow it with the Gatton Murders. And then we are going to go to William Goebel. And I'm going to also look at Fraser B. Baker and Julia Baker tonight. So we have a pretty good set lined up tonight. Now, I will not be live tomorrow night, but I will be live on Saturday at some point during the day. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Henry Weston Smith. He was a reverend. He was born January 10th, 1827 in Arlington, Connecticut. He died August 20th, 1876 at age 49 between Deadwood and Crook City, South Dakota. He was murdered, of course. His burial place is Mount Moriah Cemetery. And let's see here. He was unlike most residents of this time. He was not interested in material riches. Instead, he was first preacher of any denomination in the Black Hills Gold Rush camps. So he was a reverend during the Gold Rush, which was Midwest to Western all the way to California around the time of the California Gold Rush. He was born in Ellington, Connecticut. He married his wife while still in Connecticut. And he had 4 children with her. He then moved to Massachusetts, and during the Civil War, served the Massachusetts 52nd Infantry, after which he became a doctor in 1867. And in 1876, they moved to Kentucky. His move to Deadwood, he was not appointed to do so by the church. He felt a calling to minister to the Black Hills Gold Rush. And that spring, he accompanied a wagon train from Cheyenne, Wyoming, to the Black Hills. Traveling on foot, he found work as a prospector and boarded a freight train in Custard, arriving in Deadwood in May. So he actually arrived in Deadwood, South Dakota, roughly around 3 months before he was killed. And according to George V. Ayres, later a prominent merchant in the area, Reverend Smith held the first church service in the hills at Custer City on May 7th, 1876, which would have been 3 months and 13 days before he was killed. There was 30 men and 5 women in attendance. So he was the first one in that area to do preaching. And then on Sunday, August 20th, 1876, Smith left a note on his cabin door after his Deadwood service saying, "Gone to Crook City to preach, and if God is willing, we'll be back at 3 o'clock. Friends concerned about the dangers of Indians or thieves had warned Smith against walking alone and unarmed, but he is remembered as replying, "The Bible is my protection. It has never failed me yet." Unfortunately, Smith was murdered as he walked to Kirk City, his body found alongside the road by a local resident. The exact location is no longer remembered. He had not been robbed, causing his death to be generally attributed to Indians, although some still believed he was killed by thieves. Another theory, however, held that he was murdered by a person or persons representing the saloons, brothels, casinos, and other vice dens of Deadwood, who feared that his preaching would cut into their income. Similar rumors had circulated after the recent murder of Wild Bill Hickok. And then it goes on to describe the sheriff's description of his death. And then it was a letter to Reverend Chadwick. He was buried in a hillside cemetery in Deadwood, the service conducted by C.E. Hawley, a member of Smith's flock and absent of other clergy. The casket was later moved to Mount Moriah Cemetery with life-size statue marking his grave. So if you ever go to South Dakota and you go to Deadwood, check out Mount Moriah Cemetery. He was portrayed in the HBO television series from 2004 to 2006, Deadwood, by actor Ray McKinnon. Which that TV series was kind of based off of his murder and kind of giving an insight to his life during that time. So our next one is going to be the Gatton Murders. And then we'll move on to William Goebel. I've already eaten, so the only real break that you'll hear music for is probably if I have to go to the restroom tonight. The Gatton Murders, also known as Gatton Tragedy, Gatton Mystery, and the Murphy Murders, is given to an unsolved triple homicide. So it's the Murphy family that happened. However, it occurred 1.5 miles from the town of Gatton in Queensland, Australia. Michael Murphy, age 29, and his younger sisters, Nora Orana, 27, and Teresa Ellen, 18, were killed between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. on 26th and 27th of December of 1898. It's got a picture here of the Murphy family. And let me see if I can go ahead and pull that up. Give me 1 second. Alrighty. So... Alrighty. So right now you guys are seeing my screen. So we're going to go right here. And this is the family. Now I'm going to go over in order. So this is Daniel Sr., Mary Murphy. And then going left to right, you've got John, Jeremy, Patrick, William, Polly, Nora, Ellen, and then Catherine. Okay, so you've got Michael, who's not in this picture. And then you've got Nora right here. and then Teresa, who would go by Ellen right here. They were killed. Going back here, and I'm going to stop sharing. So those three were the ones that were killed. They were returning home from a proposed dance that had been canceled. Michael had been shot and bludgeoned, Nora strangled and bludgeoned, and then Teresa, we'll call her Ellen for the sake of what is in the article here. And she had been bludgeoned twice. Now, a little bit of background here. They owned a farm at Blackfellows Creek. It was 8 miles away from Gatton and 61 miles west of Queensland's capital, Brisbane. Michael and Daniel Jr. had both left home. Michael was working on a government experimental farm near Westbrook, while Daniel was a Brisbane police constable. Michael had returned home for the Christmas holidays, and on 26th December of Boxing Day, 1898, he had taken his sister Ellen to the Mount Sylvia races in nearby Caffey. At 8 p.m., Michael and his sisters Nora and Ellen left home to attend a dance due to be held at the Gatton Hall. Alrighty. So they were going to be held at the Gatton Hall. They arrived at 9 p.m., found the dance had been canceled, and began to return home, but failed to arrive. Early in the morning, Miss Murphy asked her son-in-law, William M. Neal, to go to Gatton to find out why they had not returned home. Michael had borrowed McNeil's sulky for the outgoing, and while on the Tent Hill Road to Gatton, McNeil recognized his sully's distinctive tracks, the result of a wobbling wheel. Turning off the road through a slip rail, McNeil followed the tracks along the rough-winding trail through the wattle scrub for around 0.75 miles before finding his missing relatives. There's a picture of Michael Murphy. McNeil found the victims in a field 1.5 miles from Gatton. Michael and Ellen were lying back to back, within 2 feet of each other. Nora lay in the same east-west orientation on a neatly spread rug 28 feet to the east. Both women had their hands tied behind their backs with handkerchiefs forming a triangle. The sulky faced south 17.5 feet from Michael and 36 feet away from Nora. The horse had been shot in the head and still lay between the shafts. Their legs were arranged with the feet pointing west. Now, this signature has never been repeated in Australian crime, and the Gatton murders themselves remains a mystery. So at this point, it's still a mystery. There's no idea or clue on who could have done it, and there's no idea on why. The 2 girls were the only ones that had had any other trauma. And then they were also the only one that had their hands tied behind their backs, well above their heads. Michael was the only one that was shot. Nora was the only one that was strangled. And then Ellen and Nora were both bludgeoned. So that's the two that we did tonight. Now, Saturday night, we will do the other two. But I am signing off for the night. And catch you Saturday. Catch you next time.